Okay, so we got a little mail here. Just want to say shout out to Mike. More than just the tip. Michael, thank you. Mike emailed me and said he was sending me a gun. I guess he did. Can't wait to try this out, man. Thank you very much. All right, thanks for the sticker, Mike. I'm gonna find a place to put it. If any of you guys that watch this channel, if you guys have stickers for your company, send them to the P.O. box in the description below, and maybe I'll start a collection, and maybe I'll find a place in the shop around the workbench to start putting them all up. Some of you guys have been asking about a walk around of the new setup here. Some things have been changed around. For those of you who are new to the channel, maybe you haven't seen what it looked like before I made some changes. I will throw in a couple pictures here. Ah, it didn't work. Here, man, here. There we go. Okay, let's start where all the magic happens, where it all comes from. Right at the buffer tank, right at our water source. So what we have here is a vertical 50-gallon rectangular buffer tank. There is one on the other side, so there's two of these, one here, one on the other side. This is a, well, let's start with a 12 volt, okay? Right here, let's start with a 12 volt. This is a 3/4 bulkhead, 3/4 line with a 3/4 Y. This side of the Y goes to the other tank with an identical 3/4 bulkhead. This 3/4 line runs into our manifold here, our metering system. These are all dropped down to 1/2 inch because 1/2 inch is really all you can find for most of these valves at the moment. But our water line, I'm trying to get it to take the path of least resistance. Would have loved to not have 90 in here, but doesn't really seem to make too much of a difference. That flows through back into a 1/4 inch feed, which goes to our pump. This metering valve here is for our bleach. It's a 1/2 inch line into this box I made for a remote ball valve. In here is a 12 volt powered, basically a 1/2 inch DN10 with a solenoid on the top, a motor that runs through this 1/2 inch line. And then you see that yellow handle up there, that is a 3-way ball valve. The way it's facing now, it drops stick into this tank. If you turn to the left, it'll pull from our 100-gallon bleach tank here. So by manipulating that ball valve, I can flush out our line and our stainless steel ball valve that's in here. I'll throw up a picture of what that looks like inside, or a video or something. And then we have our 1/4 inch barb that runs to the back of the truck to a soap tank. Okay, by manipulating these dials, I can change the ratio of bleach or water or soap, and that comes through our 3/4 inch line here into just your standard Home Depot or Ace Hardware ball valve. I can kill that ball valve and be able to flush out or change out the screen in this filter here, 3/4 filter, 3/4 hose up into our very tried, tested, and loved FlowJet 6-gallon per minute pumps, about 60 psi. That's going to feed our 3/4 hose up into the reel. This reel is a 1/2 inch reel, so we are reduced from a 3/4 fitting into a 1/2 inch manifold here. It's only about 6 inches, so you don't get much of a water log or anything. And into 5/8 Curatech hose. Do have a 1/2 inch DN15 here, 1/2 inch sit fitting, and that just quick connects into our normal ST510 with a couple brass extenders and reducers and whatnot, and a 2 to 3 gallon per minute M5 twist. Works really well on a 6 gallon per minute pump. Okay, I don't know how I had that in there. So next we have how do we feed this system. This is just, again, just a generic splitter from Ace Hardware. This is brand new, just bought this the other day. But our hose reel, which is 5/8, used to all be 5/8, into here, and then 1/2 inch into our Hudson float valves to fill our tank. The other day I just switched everything to 3/4. This is all now 3/4 braided, 3/4 elbow. And this is, I don't even know what this is. You don't have an option here. I'm assuming it's like a 5/8 manifold, but this 3/8, or I'm sorry, this 3/4 lines, this 3/4 braided runs to the left tank and then to the right tank. This one runs to the soap tank, and this one's basically just vacant right now. You can you know, get a little water if you need to. So all of this feeds these tanks. Pretty soon we are going to be swapping this out, not the reel but the hose. This is a 5/8 hose. I got a really cool 3/4 hose, something I've never even seen before, so I'm excited to show you guys that. But I'll do a separate video on changing out that hose. So that basically flows our 12-volt system. I use this for roofs. This is all set up as a backup. I kind of had the idea of doing this before getting the 8 gallon per minute, just so I can have redundancies, and also just have a really nice 12-volt system for whatever I might want to use it for. Next on the water flow scale is this bulkhead right there. That is a 1.5 inch bulkhead to 1.5 inch, 90-degree barb to 1.5 inch non-collapsible hose. Just as this just as this 3/4 line for the 12-volt is wide off, so is our 1.5 inch. Runs through the tanks here into an identical 1.5 inch bulkhead. So these tanks do drop and fill evenly based off of how they are supplied and sucked from. So this also goes into a 1.5 inch banjo ball valve, so I can again change out our 1.5 inch filter. Back into another 1.5 inch line here, and this bad boy swings right into the back of this AR pump. So this thing is pretty robust. These normally have a 3/4 inlet. This is a Inlet King 3/4 expanded into a 1.5 inch barb, so that all works really well. This pump wants a 3/4 feed. We're giving it an 1.5 inch, and trust me, it is absolutely quenching its thirst. All right, take a look at this. So that's pretty cool. This building is 40 feet long. So yeah, I'm gonna go right at the tip here of the building. Yeah. Hitting the quad. You can see the stone out there. Pretty cool. So this is an AR 8 gallon per minute pump. It's pretty cool. Been watching a little bit of powerful improvements there. This is the K7 that he was using, and that's kind of how you get away with running that low pressure gun. All right, I know it's gonna be hard to hear me, but let's take a look at the PSI gauge here. When I go on and off the gun, we'll see where it spikes. Pretty cool. So it's running at about 500 PSI, which is actually awesome for doing house washing. The lichen and the moss and mold really doesn't stand a chance. Listen to this. Really nice. Go real soft. So without changing any settings on the unloader, you can go from this setting, nice and soft, good for house wash. All I'm going to do is just change out the gun here. Now we're just going to change out the gun and a high pressure tip. This is an 8 gallon per minute turbo nozzle. So you can go right from washing a house to doing a patio. Now if I do have a couple different tips on the way. So because that one obviously doesn't take tips, you have to switch the gun. But if you were using like on the 12 volt over there, I have the 2 to 3 gallon per minute M5. If you were using just a regular pressure gun like this is an ST2305. If you're just using one of these, you could go from just swapping tips from a turbo nozzle to an M5 to whatever you do want to use. So I think that's pretty cool. Now I do have a low setting on set, so I can do that. I think I'm only spiking about 2,000 psi when using this, but it is a 4,000 psi machine, so you can adjust the unloader. You can get more or less pressure. It is pretty low. If I was actually doing some concrete work, I would jack that up, and all you got to do is just twist a little bolt. K7 unloader, that's got a 1/2 inch line running out of it from the back here, goes around, and then I have a 1/2 inch splitter that runs to both tanks. I just keep these reels dead. What that means is that there is no water feed into here. It's basically just storage. So all the hose comes off, and then I just click the end of this hose onto here, and then the water comes out of your injecting system here, your bypass system. The first 50 feet with an 8 gallon per minute is 1/2 inch line here. Okay, it's just letting that pump like feed so much more freely right away. So you got 50 feet of 1/2 inch, and then you can run as much 3/8 hose after that. So there's about 200 here. I think I got another 200 on here. I don't use it often. I actually need to use it today, but it is just nice to have. I've just been collecting it over the years, and it's nice to have a lot of extra. I might pop this out and make this 1/2 inch, and then going from the unloader to the bypass, this is 3/8 right now. I'm going to be moving this reel, extending this out a little bit with a little bit more tube, and we're going to pop in this 1/2 inch jumper hose. So that should really help the pump just stay nice and healthy, and make sure it has a really nice shot of flow before getting a little bit more restricted with the 3/8. How this works is your jump line is coming from your pressure washer, and then it hits this system here. When this ball valve is open, water and pressure take the path of least resistance, so it's gonna come flying through here. You're gonna click the end of this 50 foot hose in there, and then it's gonna charge your line. When you turn the ball valve here on the DN10, the water is forced to go up through here and then charge your line. As it comes through this injector, there is suction based off of this barb and orifice in here, and it pulls from this hose, and this one goes into my chemical tank, and then if your valve is turned this way, it goes to the water tank, so I can clear out this injector, make sure everything's fresh and not getting corroded. So everything gets pulled through and then charges your line. I am waiting on an electronic ball valve for this. Everything is pretty backed up right now, but I should have it pretty soon, and then you'll be able to go through this motion just by pressing a button on a remote. I used to have a 12 volt system here, which I would use basically for roofs. That was the old 12 volt pump. When I am loading up using my 55 gallon barrels, I do have a pre-made drop stick and 3/4 braided PVC tube, and on the end of that hose is a quick connect for this pump. It goes in here, then I can charge the pump with this switch here, and with the flick of a switch, it will start pulling bleach from my 55 gallon barrel, and then it comes out the back, and I just drilled a hole in the top of the bleach tank, and then it basically is just makes filling up the bleach very, very easy. Back here we got a 14 gallon soap tank that gets used for roof washes and everything like that. And then we just have a little toolbox, came stock with the skid. 2 interstate batteries in there. They run the 5 gallon per minute pumps. They also are charging our ignition system for our pressure washer for the electric start. And then in here, I just keep the usual extra guns, extra nozzles, extra tips and wands, and basically redundancies of everything. Hose seals, different barbs, different fittings, just basically anything that you could need. This is actually coming in handy. I do have a lot of filters on everything. Everything is filtered going in and out of the tanks before they hit the pumps, but every once in a while you still get a bunch of crap in the end of your tip somehow, and these tip cleaners have been really nice. So just basically junk all over the place in here. Key for the pressure washer, remote for that electronic ball valve, and then eventually there will be a remote for the other side here. Extra filters. I mean, it's just all kinds of stuff. Extra. This is a turbo nozzle for the 3 gallon per minute that I used to have. All right, well, I guess that's basically it. And that is a full in-depth walk around.